Happy New Year, everyone. How are you this bright, beautiful dawn of a new decade? I'm sure we've all made our resolutions and so on and so forth. And if you haven't, you're probably scribbling, or if you're like me and you've been there, done that, and made all the resolutions and never followed up on them, join me on this new Questions Empower video series videos that I'm making here today, but with a little bit of a twist, which you shall see in a little while. So we've been used to asking questions straight away, straight up and simple. From today onwards, I'm going to attach a value, something that we hold truly deeply dear to us, and see how that value can actually lead us through the day, the week, the month, the year. I'm Bhuchar. I'm a leadership transformation coach, and my work revolves around a lot of use of self and a whole high dosage of emotional intelligence. Pardon the noise around me. I'm obviously in a public place, and thus traffic sounds. Please bear with those. So we all hold values very dear to our hearts. When I spoke to people, they said, yes, we would actually like to have a question related to a value so that it helps us lead our lives in a much better fashion. So here we are about that. And I thought, what better day to start with than today, and what better value to start with than kindness? What is kindness really? Is it just about helping a person cross the street? Is it just about not kicking an animal, a stray animal, or not shooing it away? Is it just about donating things to people? No. Kindness as a value, as defined by the dictionary, is about when we do an act which creates a better space, a better sense of being, harmony for another person, which creates ease for another person, even if it means a little bit of discomfort to us. Sometimes great, sometimes small, sometimes not at all. Being kind doesn't always mean that some discomfort will happen to us. What it does definitely mean is that it will create something positive in another human being's world. Now, kindness is visible in every walk of life, I'm sure. We've seen kind children, we've seen kind elderly, we've seen kind leaders. So my question today is going to be around what it takes for us to be kind leaders. And I'm going to share a story with you around that. In these past weeks, I was running a human interaction lab, and a lot of things came out of it. But here's a story which was really apt for the entire value of kindness. So in this human interaction lab, there were people from various organizations and leaders, all of them designated leaders with a fair amount of experience. And the idea was for them to learn how is it that they came across to other people, and what did other people perceive of them, and therefore what is it that they could do differently to be able to be better leaders, be better human beings, and so on. Now, of course, there were about 8 of them, and while they were sitting, naturally human interaction, human behavior comes through. There was one gentleman who got cornered for being too quiet in the entire lab. And there were 2 people who were very vociferous about it, and they went to him and they said, oh, so you're very quiet, you don't initiate conversations, you don't interact with us, are you really being condescending, or are you trying to show us that you're better than us? This gentleman listened to their rave, and of course there was a little more than what I just let in on. And then when they were finished, he took a moment, he paused, he reflected, and then he responded to them saying, so would it have made me a better leader if I kept jumping into everything that you said, if I had a point of view for everything that I voiced, that you had spoken about? And he let that sink. And then he asked another question. Does being a good leader only ever mean talking yourself, or does it also mean allowing other people to express their thoughts, their views, their opinions? He got counter questions saying, but we are a group of peers here. There's nobody over here who's your follower. There's nobody here who's your team member. And he turned around and said, so am I a leader just by a designated authority, and whether you are my team member or not, and whether I sign on your salary check or not? Again, there was pin drop silence, and I was pretty happy to hear this kind of exchange, because that's really where truly leadership behaviors and leadership discussions happen. When there was that kind of pin drop silence, then this gentleman spoke up and he said, I've learned that it's kinder to be quiet than it is to constantly keep talking. I've learned that it's better to be a kinder leader than it is to be an authoritative leader. And of course, the whole discussion went around different leadership styles and so on and so forth. But what stuck with me was the fact that if as leaders We are kind enough to let people express their emotions. We are kind enough to let people vent what they're going through with us. We are kind enough to be open minded and to create a space of trust. And mind you, this is not about condescending enough. It's about saying, hey, there are other people who have needs, ideas, feelings, emotions, desires that they need to express, that they need to let out. And it's not always about me being the leader or me being the one in charge or me being the one in control. That creates for so much a better organization, so much a better environment around us. I promise you, when this gentleman was done, I'm sure that as soon as people got their mobiles, which they didn't have during the lab, as soon as they got their mobiles, he would have been the first person that they would have connected with on LinkedIn and on any of these social media sites. Why? Because also of the way that he connected with those people who were attacking him and saying that you being condescending by not speaking up and by not participating. Of course, it could have gone in any direction, but the way he handled it actually genuinely showed how he was truly a kind person, because even when he was speaking to them and even when he was putting forth his questions to them, there wasn't any attack on their self-esteem, which is also what is kindness. As I started out with saying, kindness isn't just about helping people cross the road or donating a few warm clothes to people in the winters or money and so on and so forth. Kindness is also about allowing people their space. Kindness is also about allowing people to express themselves. Kindness is also a lot about allowance. Where is it that you as the leader needs to start being kind? Who do you need to start being kind with? Perhaps even with yourself. What is it that you need to do to be kind and create a kind environment around you, create a positive, powerful, peaceful, and productive environment around you? Here's my invitation to you. How about you sit down and list down every day for this next week? Where all were you kind? Where all did you have the opportunity to be kind? And where all did you miss that opportunity in being kind? And also, what are those 2-3 things you can do and change in your way of being that will help you be a kinder person, kinder to others around you, whether human beings or not? Even the environment, by the way. Each time we throw a piece of paper away, each time we use a paper cup instead of using a ceramic cup, that's not being kind to the environment. So what is it that we need to do to be kind today and every day? How can we live this value, breathe it on a minute-to-minute basis every single day and encourage people around us to do the same? I'm Shalu Bhuchar signing off, leaving you with that thought and reminding you, questions empower. Please ask the right ones.